going to go live and I'm laughing.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leslyn Keith, and we're here again with our friends. What's new and coming up at Lipedema? I'm with the Lipedema Project. I'm the Director of Research and President of the Board. And I'm here with my friends and colleagues. Catherine, say hi.
Hi.
Founder and Executive Director of pretty much everything. And Gail Straker, Community Manager. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Leslyn. Oh my gosh, we've got the giggles already. This is getting good.
And Siobhan Huggins, our research specialist, among other things, pretty much Jill of all trades. Nice to have you. Nice to have everybody back here together again. We love getting together. We love chatting with you. And as always, I just would love to invite you to please put things in the chat. As Gail always says, give us some love. Give us some of those hearts.
You're getting good.
And say where you're from. If you've ever been here for one of these before, you could post your comments or questions. We do have a big thing that we want to talk about today, but we'll try to get to other stuff if you post comments and questions. But we do have quite a big event happening in October it's unprecedented. It's something that it's never been done before for lipedema and lymphedema, and it's pretty exciting. Catherine, do you want to kick it off and tell everybody about this event?
I want to invite everyone to save the dates, and I am going to. I was going to.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah, can you get the banner that says save the dates? It's the third one from the bottom.
Yep, I sure can.
So here are the dates. They're coming October 20, 22, 23. And it's called Heart to Heart. And I'm especially excited about it being called Heart to Heart because it was Leslyn that came up with that title. And Leslyn is our scientific left brain.
You're going to give me credit for that, and I don't remember that at all, but it's okay.
Yeah, because I was like, oh my God, Leslyn. It was so wonderful. Anyway, it's really bringing together the brilliance of global speakers, and we'll talk about some of who the speakers are. But world-renowned speakers are coming, and our community. In community, we'll be doing a lot of small breakout sessions like this, like the four of us. Consider us like a small breakout session. Well, you'll have an opportunity to meet up with a lot of the women in small groups throughout the entire 3 days. And that's the unprecedented part that Leslyn's talking about. Most conferences are what they call the sage on the stage. There's someone sort of giving information, and we're all there. And I've been to hundreds of conferences and taking notes wildly and learning. But the element that I think is so important, that is a natural part in some ways when we're live in conferences. We don't do it in the middle of the conference, but what we do is we go to breakfast, we go to lunch, we go to dinner, we go for coffee and tea after everything, and we sit and we talk for hours, and that's the meat. It's because of all my time in carnivore. That's the essence. That's the essence of what is wonderful about going to any kind of conference, symposium, congress. It's the interconnectivity. It's the learning from one another. And that's what's at the core. And I'm going to, Gail, how about you? Why don't you?
Why don't I do a little bit of talking? A little bit. So
yeah, you can do some talking, and then Siobhan, everybody.
Whoop, whoop, I get permission to talk. They try to just let them stop me. I don't know. So like Catherine says, we all get together, but we're not able to do it in person. when the pandemic hit, we discovered the online community. And because of the online community from all over the world, because it's global, we can get together on Zoom or on, like we are here in a small group, and we can share some really valuable moments together. But we wouldn't have been able to do this if we did it in person. In person, we seem to be only to get a few hundred, right? And then it's hard to like make connections. You might see somebody across the room you want to talk to, but you can't get to them because of the lines. And there's just so much. And then this way, you don't have to get an Airbnb. You don't have to get an airplane. You don't have to do any of those things. You can just show up. And so what we're doing is we've learned
In your pajamas.
in your compression, which you should be wearing on the airplane anyway. But what we have learned is that as we break down into smaller groups, as we break down into smaller groups and we're able to speak 1-to-1 or 1-to-3 or whatever, we're heard, we're seen, and we can find solutions from each other. And that's the amazing thing about the community that we have, all of us who are dealing with lipedema and other comorbidities. We discovered that we have the answers within us, and those answers are there before the questions are ever asked. And so I'm looking forward to this big 3-day event because I'm going to learn a lot.
Yeah, I'll tack on. I'll tack on because like one thing that's really exciting for me is the speakers that we have, but not only that, because I'm a huge geek, as many people probably know at this point, but the exciting thing is like we'll get to watch these presentations from people I've read a ton of their papers or seen some of their presentations already or are not familiar with yet. And then I'll get to take that into the breakout sessions and talk about it with other people. So I'll get to share that geek out session and see other people's perspectives on it. And then also talk about like these great discussions that I always end up learning so much about and learning about myself and about other people and like what people are focusing on and what they're concerned about. And it all just like feeds into itself in this really cool way. And yeah, I'm super excited for it. Like this lineup is like, ooh, I want to watch that one. I want to watch that one. And then I want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think you're so right, Siobhan. That is the main thing, is that you're not going to be just sitting there listening. You're going to have the opportunity to interact with other people, other attendees, the experts that are speaking. But also, just as Gail is saying, remember that you are the expert as well. You have some valuable things to share to the world community about lipedema and the conditions that can come with it, such as lymphedema and obesity. So, and as Siobhan was saying, the speakers that we have coming to share with us cutting edge info are just astounding. I have to share with you that we've had Dr. Gabrielle Ferber from Germany several times because she has been doing keto in her clinic with her patients with lipedema for almost 15 years. Jane Wigg from the UK, who has been in this, she's one of the mover and shakers of the lipedema community. Dr. Stanley Roxon, who is a premier lymphologist and researcher in lymphatic conditions. What is he going to share with us? I can't wait to find out. And Dr. Matthew Carmody, who has been highly involved with Lipedema Simplified and Lipedema Project activities, has been with us on writing papers and stuff like that, but also in the community, talking to other women in the community in small groups and in big groups. He always has something new to share, another slant, another way of looking at, another context to put everything into. So I just have to say it's going to be astounding. Please join us. We need you to be a part of this. We need to hear from you as well as all these exceptional speakers. And I also want to say hello to a lot of people have posted on here. Stina, Liza, Rosie, hello. Carol, Denise, Elmas, Desiree, Becca Ann. Thank you so much for posting and saying hi. We love to hear from you.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And
let me just say, one of the reasons we're taking time today is we are about to launch an early bird special, and Gail's going to put it in the chat. But the early bird special will get launched tonight, in a few hours, so you're getting to hear it first. And this will go out to everybody that's ever said I'm interested in, said put me on your email list. So, and what Gail said is so important, which is that we get to be with women and lipedema and lymphedema patients, as well as those that serve our populations worldwide. So typically our cost is $297. This is an early bird special. It's dropped to $97. So it's a fast action bonus. When you get the email, sign up as soon as you can. And I mean, if you're going to come anyway, you may as well save some money. That's my idea of being able to do this. It really is about learning as much as you can learn in order to have a life that's really wonderful, even with the diseases we deal with. And I'm going to ask Gail and Siobhan to share something as well, because they have something in the works.
Okay. So first of all, Siobhan and Gail, for some reason, made a connection at Keto Fest, and Siobhan and Gail felt each other's arms, right? And anyway, we did all that stuff because all of a sudden, you get together with other lipedema people with lipedema, and next thing you know, you say, "Can I feel you?" And then you do. So we become this silly pair. Now, Siobhan and Leslyn are very serious together, but Siobhan and Gail are not serious together. Oh, anyway, so Siobhan knits. What? Who knits?
oh no.
Who knits? I mean, she knits very cool things. I mean, she makes socks that look like bacon and all those sorts of things, which blows my mind. But I crochet. And so we are thinking about, what are we thinking about, Siobhan?
We're thinking of putting together a group that will all be all about crafting. So this will be for the tribe members in all the artsy, crafty, whether it's painting, quilting, sewing, knitting, crochet, whatever. We can all get together and hang out and share what we're working on. And like, there's lots of things that I want to talk about in relation, because one aspect is like, sure, there's the nutrition aspect of lipedema and lymphedema, and there's stuff like compression, but there's also that social connection part and self-care. And self-care can include creating things and being artistic and relaxing, taking some time for yourself, because sometimes having lipedema can be a full-time job, and you really just need to focus on meditation if you're into that. But I'm going to say knitting and crochet and painting counts. So having a group where we can all encourage each other to take that time and discuss it and share and celebrate the things that we can do is going to be really exciting.
And all of us, and I know that as I look around, when the women meet for Miranda or visits or other, every now and then I'll see a bunch of paintings behind them, and either they've painted or they've, like, I got this quilt behind me and all these things. And And so as we get together and we're working on what we're working on for ourselves, then we're also making that connection, and that's helping ourselves also and each other. And so we're looking at putting together something like that. Be patient.
Yeah. In the background, like before this meeting, Gail and I were texting each other back and forth. I'm working on this. Oh, I like to work on this stuff. It's like, okay, when are we going to put this together?
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. It's like dorky and dorkier. I don't know. Here,
Which one's which, Gail?
I don't have a clue. But we've been having fun. And look, Jamie Clark said she made a wreath today.
Oh,
Crafts
that's cool.
are her outlet. And
yeah,
I know that
mine too.
And I know that I have a painting on my wall from one of our community members, Sue's. She sent me a beautiful painting of a sunflower, and I've got a Christmas tree ornament hanging in my window that's made by Jeannie, and I have a coaster made by Deborah. So I know that a lot of us do things, whether it's coloring or drawing or origami. We do a lot of things, and that's taking care of ourselves. It's very good for us. It's good for our brains. It's good for our bodies. It's good for our souls.
Absolutely.
And hi to Afshan and Nadia from Sadia, she says. Catherine wants to know where to get a ticket, so we need to let them know. We're giving you the link. Desiree is really looking forward to the event. Thank you guys for posting comments. Great to have you here today. So we will have the link here. If you would like to come to this event, the Heart to Heart event, then we will have the link for you in order to get that early bird special and join us. I saw another comment on here that I wanted to sure that I mentioned. Desiree says, I don't know if I've asked anybody if I could feel them before, but maybe I will now. So
I do it all the time, anytime I go to conferences, because there are people who have lipedema and they don't realize that feeling is not what everybody feels like. So I just offer, you want to feel my arm? You want to feel my arm?
Yeah, and you actually requested. You were sitting on the couch. Catherine and I were sitting over here, and you're like, before I leave, can I feel your arms? Like, just hand them out. It's pretty amazing, because we think that our fat is normal feeling fat because we have felt it all our lives. We're not aware that other people's fat might not feel like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't realize until I felt my friend's arm, and it was like, wait, this feels like smooth, like a pork chop, like
it's
the type of fat.
Supposed to be smooth, yeah.
Smooth and firm. And it's like, huh. Yeah, I mean, if you felt like someone without lipedema and they have like this firm fat that's like completely smooth, it's the same as a pork chop. It's essentially the same thing.
The carnivore in us. I agree that I had a friend who was larger than me, very voluptuous and full-bodied, just gorgeous. And I'd think, why is she so smooth? I mean, she looked smooth. I don't look smooth. I look bumpy and lumpy. She looked smooth. I was like, I don't get it. Why can't I look that smooth? So I never really dug around in her, but
yeah. A Facebook user asked, is Heart to Heart primarily for patients or for people working with lipedema, so providers or therapists, stuff like that?
And I would say both, but definitely we're really trying to reach out to patients or people who have lipedema, because your expertise in yourself is what we need for this event. But we definitely want to increase awareness to everybody in general, and including the people that might be taking care of you. So it's definitely going to everybody. And another person, Desiree, asks about liposuction for lipedema. And actually, one of the experts that we have coming to the Heart to Heart event, Dr. Stefan Rapprich from Germany, is the originator of liposuction techniques for lipedema. And he is going to be talking about just that. Desiree, you're going to go meet with your surgeon on Monday, so I'm sure you'll have lots of questions. This is part of your fact finding. So you'll get information from that surgeon, but also you're going to want to hear what Dr. Rapprich has to say as well. This is, like I say, we've got the stars of the lipedema world are going to be here.
Leslyn, there's one other piece to the woman or the user. It just says Facebook user about the cost. So I just want to say that we have a policy that if anyone is in need, because there are a number of women who have disabilities or on fixed incomes, they just have to email and we work out something with them, because we don't turn anyone away because of funds. But as I said, the usual cost was $297 and we dropped it to $97.
Yes.
For just that reason.
Yep.
To make it much more available for people.
And hi, Susie from Seattle. Nice to have you here today.
And I want to address this question from Facebook user. It says, do you invite doctors from the US to join? I have found many doctors, even bariatric doctors, that know nothing of lipedema. And that is so common. So many of us either have difficulty getting diagnosed if we get diagnosed. And then once we get diagnosed, our doctors are like, oh yeah, you've got it. But they don't give us any, they don't know how to give us support. And I hear that often inside the community, where they're like, so I worked so hard to get a diagnosis. And then that was all there was. They put it in my chart, right? They didn't tell me what to do. They couldn't treat me. So why'd I work so hard for a diagnosis? And some of us need a diagnosis for insurance reasons. We know we've got this. I mean, that's the thing. We know. Some of us have had to actually educate our care providers so that they could say, oh yeah, I think this is what you have, but they don't have the expertise. And so it's really, even though it feels like a burden, it can really be a blessing to learn as much as you can and then educate your primary care provider and get the conversation going in that way.
Yeah, and potentially invite them to come as well. Say, hey, if you're really interested and you want to learn about this and work together on this, essentially, because guaranteed you're probably not their only patient with lipedema, whether they know it or not. Why don't you come and join, see what these presentations are about, what people are talking about, kind of get that perspective, and it may really help you in your practice. That's always an option too.
Yeah.
And so, Leslyn, let's address this last question.
Yes, I was just going to talk about that. Are you talking about the one from Jamie? Yes. She says she's at high risk for liposuction because she has a DVT. And you are absolutely right, because when you have a blood clot, typically in your leg, if that moves up to your heart and lungs, you could die. So that's a pretty serious comorbidity that sometimes takes you out of the possibility of having some kind of extensive surgery. Now, there are things they can do for it, because if you needed some kind of emergency surgery, there are ways to mitigate the danger of that DVT. But if there's other things you can do besides surgery, they're going to want to go in that direction when you have something as serious as a DVT, a deep vein thrombosis. This is, very high risk. So yeah, Jamie, I would agree with you. You probably are too high risk. have the surgery.
And let me add to that, that I was told by a couple of different doctors that I was not a good candidate for the liposuction surgery, and I did not listen to them. And all I have to say is they were right.
Yeah, yeah. But we don't want to go out on that kind of a note. We want to go out on a happy note, because there are so many things on the horizon for lipedema that are giving us hope. There are so many things now that we can do for lipedema, that we can manage it, that we can keep it from progressing, that we can even make it better. When it even just 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, we didn't think that there was anything we could do. And I have to say that this is pretty exciting times that we're in right now. And we're so happy to be a part of this with you, and bringing you information and learning from you as well. So thanks for being here with us again today. As always, we look forward to hanging out with you and sharing stuff. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Thanks.